Huh. Yeah. Ms. Wolf, can you unmute? There you go.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, can you guys hear me clearly with my air conditioner in the background, or do you need me to take it down?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Ms. Rose, can you hear her?
Yes,
Okay. It should be raised right hand. You swear the testimony about to give should be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I
I
do.
do.
Ms. Carcos, is this for non-payment of rent?
Yes, it is.
Monthly rent is how much?
$772.
Due in the first of each month?
Yes.
What months are you alleging are outstanding?
May, June, and the proration of July.
May.
Okay, Mrs. Wolf, do you agree the monthly rent is $772?
Yes.
Due in the first of each month?
Yes.
Has it been paid for the month of May?
Absolutely. I actually have all of my rent receipts, because the only ones that are in default are June and July. Yes, actually, I paid rent on the 1st of May, and it was processed by Deanna Aranda.
Okay. I might have an old ledger.
Okay, what about June?
June, I do. June, I actually asked for to pay rent late because of several financial hardships. I was told that I had until the 12th. And then, of course, I kept up with constant communication, and just like I did before, because this was the second time that I've ever had to pay rent late. And I was served the final day on the 9th with a notice to pay and quit, that they're terminating my lease 3 days before they gave me the actual deadline. And that's where our communication ceased, because I've never been through something like this before. And then, because I asked if I could pay my rent on the 18th, because of course I lost my job, I lost my service animal of 10 years. Both him and my ESA in training, they both got sick at the same time, and I had to spend over $1,200 to get them, or just for vet care. And of course, I emailed all the documents in different, in about 5 emails in different attachments. And I was just, because I lost my job and I actually just got a new one, I was just asking like, hey, can I pay until the 18th and I can go ahead and pay the late fee? And on the 9th, I got a post outside my door that just said, you have X amount of days to pay and quit, and we're not renewing your lease. So, I mean, other than that, every single month I have paid on time or before the deadline. And this would be my second time with rent being late. Of course, with the first one, my working dog, both of my dogs almost passing away, and one of them actually passing away. But I still paid for vet care. And then I actually had friends and family members, helping me by either helping me cover for these vet bills, or one of them actually helped me pay for the first time I was late on my rent. And then I have documentation of sending that too. So this case, it was, I had a 6-month contract with a temp agency working for Aetna through their open enrollment. My contract got terminated with the rest of the team within 3 months on May 31st. I immediately applied for unemployment, and I immediately started donating plasma just so I can catch up, because losing my job threw off all of my bills, from my phone bill, my internet bill, my car payments, my insurance, basic living. And it just set me back, and I wasn't aware of the moratorium or the Texas Rent Relief Assistance. But I basically tried doing all that I can just like before. The first time that I actually had my rent payment late, I was able to pay on the 18th, and I actually had a family member from out of state not only mail, but send certified mail to the office to help me with that late rent payment. And I actually had to chase the mailman down, because even though they said it was delivered, the front office told me that they did not receive it. So I actually had to hunt him down, find the letter and deliver it in person. So there wasn't a moment that I actually haven't tried. There wasn't a moment where, of course, my rent wasn't paid at all. But considering that I was told by my property manager, Priscilla, that, she was just like, let me know, stay in communication. Of course, you have until the 12th. We're not going to kick you out or evict you. And this completely caught me off guard, to where not only do I have an extensive amount of proof and evidence in a timeline and chronological order, besides, my working dog passing away and paying for that care, and then of course losing my job, but I'm also having to pay for my own car payment and the insurance and the registration monthly, because I'm going through a divorce and registering the car is difficult. So I pay for monthly registration, and then I got into a car accident in November, so I have to pay for those estimated repairs. I am at fault for the accident, so of course I have to make a monthly payment for that. And ever since I lost my job and with unemployment, I didn't get approved yet because they weren't able to verify me through their ID and me with my phone number. I did go through the appeal process, and I'm just waiting for a response. And I'm also going through transitional compensation recertification, where I just have to go ahead and send in my packet so I can go ahead and get guaranteed BAH for the next year. So it wasn't a form of I refuse to pay. It was simply a form of life hit me pretty hard, and I have extensive documentation to prove it. I was told one thing by the property manager, and the same day I kept in communication, she posted something outside my door that said something completely different. And from there, not only did we lose communication, I just reached out for local assistance through TRLA to see what I could and could not do, reaching out for any form of legal aid to make sure that, it was a complete promise to pay. And I did actually let her know when I made the phone call, I'm like, hey, I am intending to, move out. I just want to let you know, but it wasn't for another 90 days. So, because I did start my new job last Thursday, and I just got my confirmation this morning for my first paycheck. So for as hard as I've worked to get here, if this were to actually go through, I would have to go back to the situation that I ran away from. He got discharged from the Army for domestic violence. I emailed all proof of that as well. This is supposed to be my sanctuary. And at this point, the only thing that I'm waiting on is people letting me know, if I'm approved, if I'm not approved, and just simply just catching up. But otherwise, every single payment that I have has been on time. And I kid you not, I have literally been hit in the face by life, literally one after the other, of just extremely high payments all at one time. And I'm having a difficult time just keeping up. But the one thing that I did make sure of is my rent is either paid on time or it's paid in full before anything else is taken care of. But now that I got this eviction notice hanging over my head, I would have to possibly go back to a homeless shelter, which there isn't really many around here that could assist a person like me. I don't have friends and family out here, so I would be stuck. Also, if you would see the emailed attachments of my car can't drive more than 50 to 60 miles an hour. So even driving out of state to go get additional assistance would be difficult. So everything is basically holding on a thread, because with this new job that I have, if I don't have, or I did give my 30-day notice, and I do have a plan A, B, and C and an emergency one, but having an eviction notice on my record because I chose to communicate with somebody, was told one thing by a property manager, gave every form of evidence possible, continue to go through communication just to have it stop and not have it continue, and not knowing what's going on. I wanted to go through this process because I don't want to risk or lose everything I worked so hard of, basically to get into a safe space. And the only thing I asked for was an additional 2 weeks that I was given before. And after that, I would have given my 30-day notice, and I already have an apartment in line to go forward. But I have no idea how this process goes. So yes, thank you for listening.
Thank you. I'm sorry for your situation, Ms. Carpos. Any response or anything you'd like to say?
I do not.
Okay. Ms. Wolf, why did you lose your job?
I lost my job because it was a temporary position, and it was a 6-month temporary to hire contract. The entire team got cut off on May 31st because we were only supposed to be for open enrollment. Open enrollment was from March to April, and then we stayed for the extensions in May. I did ask for a reasonable accommodation because I did have some rough patches, wanted some additional training, and just needed some guidance on, of course, how to handle calls that were a little difficult for me in a certain light. And then I did have to report several of my management team for retaliation. So the only thing that I can think of is, honestly, I spoke up. I wouldn't stop until somebody listened to me. And I think I just became too vocal about a reasonable accommodation, and they didn't want to go forward. But I spoke to the temp agency. They encouraged and supported me applying for unemployment. And of course, there wasn't a form that I wouldn't get it. It was just a form of the new phone number I have is a 916 number. And for some reason, the ID.me website would not accept that new phone number. So I went ahead and filed an appeal at the Texas Workforce Commission. But it wasn't even my intention to stay on unemployment because I was actually able to get a new position within 2 weeks. And then I just had to wait until the new start date, which was it was on the 6th last week.
The Supreme Court order allow me to extend timelines during this period of time. It's still in effect. I'm going to just reset this to give you some time to see if you can get something worked out. But it's going to be very short. I'm going to reset this for next Tuesday at let's see, one second, I got lost here. For next Tuesday at looks like there was a cancellation at 11:15. So I'm gonna reset this for July 20th at 11:15. Ms. Wolf, I don't have much discretion, but if the rent hasn't been paid, you're pursuing an eviction, I'm going to have to, grant them the eviction. I'm only going to continue this to next Tuesday to allow you some time to see if you can work out and get something worked out with the landlord. If not, in all likelihood, there is going to be an eviction next week.
With the moratorium that's up that I'm covered under?
If they wish to proceed, they can proceed. You haven't stated anything on the moratorium. It's
Well, actually, I sent about 5 emails, and of course, like all the attachments couldn't fit in one email. So I sent 5 and broke them down, and then
you tell me which ones you want to open. I'll open.
Okay. So they're all in chronological order. So the first one.
No, what it is. Tell me where the one is that you want to rely upon.
The first one, number 1.
This one here?
No,
oh,
no,
one.
1, yes.
Just here? This is
So
okay.
Oh no, that email has multiple attachments, so you can go left and right. So the first one would be the letter under the moratorium that I.
Where is it?
Oh, there we go. So I guess that right. I filed that, and then of course I pretty much with that specific email, that's all of my proof of rent. So the first time they were able to give me an exception to pay on the 18th, and that was like the first
This
series.
was, what did you, this is, your proof of rent was sent into here?
No, with the first email attachments, that the series that you have, the first one, the one that you're looking at is the eviction protection declaration.
Yes.
I just wanted to sign and send that letter because it was attached to the back of my serving letter because I am applying for rental assistance. In the rest of that email, it has documents of the first time that I was served a notice to pay rent or quit. And of course, that's when, you know, both of my working dogs almost passed and one did. And that also has proof of, you know, a family member.
Those are defenses to an eviction. I mean, if this one is applicable. Anything else? What do you want me to look at in these attachments?
So those are pretty much like all of the documents that I have when it comes to making sure that I pay my rent. Hold on, let me calm down because I think anything that I do, any kind of communication I have with them, I document or I keep their documents.
I'm not doubting that. And I'm not.
But what the issues that I'm having is that what you're saying is you want me to, of course, work out something with them until next week to see if that's something they're willing to do. I've tried, and anytime I ask for them to document anything that they say so I can have it on file, they refuse. Or they promise me one thing, and of course the reason why is doing it.
They want their money.
No, I understand. But I actually went earlier. I actually went the first week of July to go and pay June's rent and the late payment. And then you can actually see in my 30-day notice on the right-hand side, the bottom right-hand side, it also has a promise to pay July's rent along with the 30-day notice. So I'd be completely cleared and my intent to leave by the 31st. It's not the issue that I don't want to pay. What?
The 31st of what?
The 31st of July, because I gave my 30-day notice on July 1st of this month.
You intend to move out July 31st. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because they gave me a notice to not only pay and quit, but just to quit. Like they're not renewing my lease. So it puts me in a hardship to where I have to scramble and figure out exactly what I might do because I'm about to be homeless. And the only thing I asked for was an additional 2 weeks to pay my rent.
Either party can decide they don't want to renew the lease. That's not something, it's extraordinary. That's if the landlord, if you're on a 30-day month to month, they can choose not to renew it, and so can you.
Oh, I understand. But what I'm trying to say is, or what I'm saying is that everything that I do, I document, and I want to do it by the book. But the only issue that I'm having is that when I document, communicate, or try to work something out with them, I'm not being met halfway by either them owning up to their agreement with, okay, yes, we can do this, or no, we can't do that.
The only thing that I've heard that wasn't, just because people don't agree to something doesn't mean they're wrong. The only thing that I've heard so far is that they gave you till the 12th, I believe, to pay.
They told me that they were going to give me until the 12th, and then they posted a notice on the 9th.
I was speaking. I thought okay. Anything else you'd like to state?
I'm having a difficult time communicating because I definitely want to give you all the facts in a chronological order. But at the same time, I don't think that I can because I'm trying to create a plan to where, of course, they can get their money, but they refuse to take June's payment. And of course, they told me that I have to pay everything. I have to pay July as well, so they can't take partial payments. As far as this eviction notice, I'm trying to make sure that I get, like, my rights are honored as well. Because it wasn't that I wasn't trying to pay my rent. I just needed an additional 2 weeks. And if they wanted me out, that would have been fine. And I would have given my 30-day notice. But having an eviction record on me is going to make it extremely difficult for me to get an apartment, especially with a disability and working from home.
Here's it is. Okay. You said they gave you till the 12th to move out, to make the payment, and they gave you the eviction notice on the 9th. Okay, that's 3 days. I'm extending this to Tuesday, which is more than 3 days. So there you're getting your 3 days back. So this is reset for Tuesday at 11, what did I say? 11:15, okay? And now you're back to square one.
So what am I supposed to do, or what am I supposed to bring? Because I don't understand the next step.
Well, apparently your complaint right now is that they told you that you had until the 12th to come current, but they cut it short by giving you a notice to vacate on the 9th. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, so now you have those 3 extra days back. Otherwise, the eviction would have taken place today. But I'm giving you those extra days to come current, like you said you were going to.
I don't understand.
Was it the 12th? Did they give her to the 12th of June, correct? To
Yeah,
become
that was the 12th of June, and that was the issue that I was having, is that I wouldn't have had my rent payment until June the 18th. And then when I did have the payment, and I did come into the first week of July, to go ahead and give that payment, and also my 30-day notice, and to verify, hey, I just started a new job. I will also have July's rent payment and late payment by this date, and I'll be out by the 31st because TRLA told me just to go ahead and give a 30-day notice on July 1st. So everyone has it documented. But my difficulty is that I've been sucker punched by so many issues, financial ones and hardships, that I did have to suffer from.
You were going to move out July 31st, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and when were you going to pay the July rent?
Let me look at my 30-day notice. It was going to be paid on July 23rd, but now everything is scrambled in the air because I have no idea what's going on. So I'm just moving money around, and I'm trying to make sure that they can either pay for or apply for
Okay,
the
so
Texas
according
rent
to your
relief.
testimony, you were going to be current by July 23rd. So I'm going to reset this for July 20th at 11:15. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, if I get approved for the Texas rent relief by that time, would I be able to use that?
That's up to the landlord. There's no obligation on them to. You signed a contract that you would pay rent on the first day of each month. And that's your obligation. If they want to agree to something else, that's up to them. I have no authority to force anything upon them to accept. All I'm doing is taking what you testified to that you were going to do and giving you the opportunity to do that. And that's resetting it to July 20th. Any other questions?
What is going to happen on July 20th so I can be prepared?
I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I suspect that the landlord's going to want to pursue eviction if the rent is not paid in full.
So what I don't understand is that if the rent is paid in full for both June and July by the 20th, will there be an eviction on my record that will impose me to get a place on my own?
You'd have to talk to the landlord to determine that.
Okay. Who exactly do I speak to? Because that's what I'm confused of, is I don't know exactly who the landlord is. I've been speaking to multiple property management agents, and what I don't want is not only communication to be lost in translation. I want to make sure that whatever I'm testifying for, that whatever agreement that they're willing to give, that is not only documented. I don't want to be told one thing and it happened another, and then all of a sudden everything I worked so hard for is lost.
Okay, Ms. Carcos, is there a name of somebody she needs to talk to?
The name that I have is Mariana Sanchez.
Who have you been dealing with, Mrs. Wolf?
I have been speaking with Priscilla Dazan, Irma Munoz, Diana Aranda.
Who is the property manager there on site?
The only person who's actually signed off on all the documents of me being served notice
Know who the
is
property
Priscilla.
manager is?
Do I know?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Ms. Carcos, do you know the property manager at that site?
The only information I have is Mariana Sanchez with a number of 915-544-4494.
Let me see who signed the petition. One second. Oh, no, I think this petition was. Let me find out. Eddie Dean Young, is that with your company, Ms. Carcos?
Yes.
Okay, so that's not wouldn't be the person. Looks like a Priscilla Bazan posted or signed your notice to vacate letter
Yes.
that you've been talking with. I would talk with her or whoever the property manager is at your apartment complex.
I've been trying. That's the issue that I'm having. I made an arrangement with her, and
Well,
then she
I would-
posted something on my door.
That wasn't a question. That was just a suggestion. I have no idea who operates the local apartment complex, but I would either speak to the property manager or Ms. Bazan. Okay, and this is reset for July 20th at 11:15 a.m.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Is it going to be with the same meeting code and
Yes, ma'am.
passcodes?
Yes. Same meeting number and passcode. Meeting ID is 925-7218-4191, and the passcode is 252010. Okay,
Okay.
thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.